there's a whole lot going on right now. Sorry, we're trying to get the old live stream up in the car on the way home. So again, just bear with us. We're currently podcasting at about 70 miles per hour driving back from Pennsylvania. So this week was the Steel City Spectacular this weekend. It was yesterday, today, and tomorrow is what I was tracking. So today we went out to go out and just kind of see a couple of our friends, but you had something that you had to get today.
So I got some cradles for my Eternal Weekend deck.
Just like one, right? It's Commander, you only need one?
No. I got Quattro, got 4 cradles. We essentially are playing some sort of Gaia's Cradle deck. I mean, if anybody knows who like Newton is, or like follows the Cradle Control Discord, or like his like Twitch, YouTube, or anything, it is it's like an occult following. So like he's always changing stuff, but like basically like the list that I'm on right now is like White of the Reliquary, Manador, Selvish Reclaimers, Natural Order, Gaia's Cradle, kind of dot deck. It's really good into like the blue-black decks and like pretty much anything blue.
It's good into everything.
It's not bad into everything.
No, literally everything. So we went through the gauntlet this week with it because we've been working for this with about 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Kind of working through and having a proxy version together and like trying it against all the different decks. And there are very few decks that this compilation does bad with, right? So the only time I was able to grab any wins was literally an all-in mono red matchup. So even today when I was playing Boros, I had Chalice on turn 1 and then Magus on turn 2, or vice versa, whatever it was. He still won even through those pieces, and I kept having aggression and applied pressure, and this deck just pushed through. So again, people are sleeping on this deck.
Yeah, dude.
100%. They're watching, MTG Top 8 and MTG Goldfish, and this deck is nowhere on there.
Right.
I mean, it's just going to just punch you in the face, and there's just so many options with it. So I'm super excited about it. I'm not even a green mage, and I love this deck. I mean, just the amount of wins that Tony's had. You said, what, that was the most wins you've had since you started playing?
So I was always a lands guy, right? And like I played green for a long time. I played Gaia's Cradle a long time ago.
The elves.
Elves, man, I loved elves. Then like Nadu got printed, and I'm like, bro, I gotta try this breakfast deck. Like, it's the jam. Dude, Brainstorm's not for me. I can't draw 3, put 2 back. I don't understand that card. So like, I don't know. Like moving forward, I'm like, I need to get back to my roots. I need to play green something. And I kind of went deep into the tank about this, and I was like, dude, Gaia's Cradle, man.
And leading up to it, I mean, we went through several decks, like going back to Storm, going back to the Monolith deck, like with Mystic Forge. Like we tried all these before you kind of settled in on that. And it was just like, as soon as it happened, like it clicked, and again, you went right into it, and it was a natural fit, right? Because you just did phenomenal with the green. I mean, you were just, again, that's where you should have been like the whole time, and you just do a phenomenal job in green. So leading up to what the next step is as far as Eternal Magic and the big tournaments that are coming up, it is the next step is Eternal Weekend, right? That's right around the corner. We have about 8 weeks until that's literally right around the corner. And then I think we're going to see a little bit of change as far as, what the meta looks like, and the meta, and I think we have Spider-Man I think is next, and
Yeah.
I don't know that that's going to, we're not going to see a lot of the Spider-Man kind of change what the what the meta is doing, but it is definitely something that we need to keep an eye on, right? As far as what the next step is with Legacy. So Tony, kind of run us through like what is the actual deck and what kind of things are the what is the community looking at as far as the next steps in the Legacy meta? Like, do you think that blue and black is going to be are we going to see blue and black Dimir kind of removed? Do you think they're going to kind of get rid of things from there?
So not for our Eternal Weekend. I mean, for North America's Eternal Weekend, no. And like, if you look at Goldfish, like on the last 14 days, you have Dimir Reanimator at 18%. You have Red Prison at 7. You have Mystic Forge at 6-1. You have Dimir Tempo at 6. You have Oops at 4-9. You have Sneak and Show and Eldrazi roughly sharing 4%. You have Delver at 4. You have Doomsday at 3. You have Lands Breakfast at 3. Nadu at 2.6. And then, everything else is kind of just like sub 3. So, I mean, like, going into Eternal Weekend, like, I definitely think the decks to, like, hey, like, I have a plan for these, like, I'm expecting these, are obviously Dimir Reanimator, Red Stompy, Mystic Forge, Dimir Tempo, Sneak and Show, and Oops, Eldrazi, and Delver. I think those are the decks that people are going to, like, definitely be on. Mystic Forge was kind of the one for me. Like, I was really hot and heavy on it last year. Like, I called it last year.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, Mystic Forge is busted. Like, the day before the event, I was trying to buy 4 Grim Monoliths because I'm like, this deck is cracked. You should be prepared for this deck. It's going to win Eternal Weekend. And it put 3 in the top 8.
Right.
So, I definitely think that might be pseudo the case this year again. That, like, people just recognize the deck and, like, have a plan against it. The components of it are a little bit different now. Tezzeret.
Right.
So, like the problem is, like, before against an Artiface deck, you used to be able to just, like, jam a Null Rod or a Collector Oof and, like, the deck died, right? And, like, stuff like that, the deck just doesn't fully... I've lost against Mystic Forge with a Collector Oof in play, a Null Rod in play, and you lose to Mystic Forge.
Which is wild.
Like, tell me how that's, like, fair mapping. So, I think that... And, like, you can play both sides of the coin, too, right? You can say, like, oh, well, if somebody's playing an all-in type deck, like, you have these answers for it, like a Null Rod-based effect, and you should be able to interact with it on that level that, like, it shuts it down. But, like, in all fairness, like, Nadu, right? Like, you shouldn't be able to just board in for Leyline of the Voids against Cephala Breakfast and be like, cool, you lose now. Like, the deck should have some natural pivot to be able to deal with it.
Right.
It's whether or not it pushes that envelope for, is it better than the hate pieces that people are bringing in against it? And I think to this degree that Mystic Forge might be. So, like, definitely outside looking in, like, Mystic Forge is busted. Because it has so many threats. It has so many threats that you have to deal with.
And Tezzeret just added gas, right? Like,
yeah, Tezzeret just added gasoline. Like, cool, I'm gonna Mana Accelerate and I'm gonna play One Ring. Cool, if that goes unchecked for 3 turns, like, I'm gonna draw out of whatever you have and you're gonna lose the game.
Right.
I'm gonna Mana Accelerate and Kozilek's Command and set up my next 3 draws and, make these Eldrazi Scions, like, blah blah blah. Like, the deck's just very good. So I think that moving forward, like, you have to be prepared to play against that, at least have a game plan against that.
And real quick, some people that just joined, we want to say hello to StarMade28, J4X, J4XZFH. Just want to say, hey, thanks for joining us tonight. We're just kind of talking on the way home from Pittsburgh as far as kind of legacy and getting ready for Eternal Weekend, which is our kind of Super Bowl, if you will. So if you were to pick kind of, you know, what do you think are going to be the top 3 decks this year at Eternal Weekend? What are the 3 that you're picking, if nothing gets banned?
Oh, Dimir Reanimator for sure. I would say that some...
So wait. You're saying that having a mid-range deck with an I win button is good?
Oh yeah, the deck's insane. So like we'll build on this, right? So like Dimir Reanimator is obviously busted, right? Like it's this good like legacy, I don't know what you call it, like benchmark of, you know, Days, Force of Will, Wasteland, Brainstorm Ponder deck that has like threats that also just has like this like 2-card ridiculous combo in it that can go, oh, okay, end step, Entomb, Reanimate, put this like Attrax in play. Now the game's pseudo out of reach, right? So it yeah, like definitely if people own 4 Underground Seas or like reasonably 3 Underground Seas, they're gonna be on that plan.
Right. Which I was kind of surprised that Basha Roll was on more of a tempo plan today.
Well, I think he thinks that he's like favored against those decks.
Yeah.
So, and it also has like a little bit of splash damage against all the other decks in the format. Like he's like not as vulnerable to Graveyard Hate, and then like he also has a good matchup against other things.
Right.
So like sure, like that makes sense to me.
Which Kaido's a busted card.
Oh, Kaido's great. Yeah, Kaido's busted.
So, really quick, so as we say hello, it looks like Griffin's joining us, saying be there or be square. We also just got a message that we are ignoring the Facebook chat. I don't know what that means.
Facebook?
Yeah.
Well,
so
I don't have Facebook.
If you want to jump into the Kobolds and, you know, ask what that's about, we are not ignoring you. We do apologize if you feel ignored. We are, again, we're driving, so, you know, we don't have the full...
Blaze said the YouTube chat.
Oh, we're talking to the YouTube chat. I apologize. Maybe we're missing something.
Yeah.
But we are.
No, Blaze is Griffin.
Oh, is it? Oh, be there.
Blaze is Griffin, dude.
We are there. We are here.
You weren't
we
around.
Said hello.
Yeah, no, we're here, Blaze.
We got you.
We love you.
Hearts. I better put my hands on the wheel.
Yeah, he's all hearts for him. So
Dimir Reanimator is number 1.
Yeah, like you have to plan for Dimir Reanimator, obviously. And then I think also like, so there's like 2 components that I'm focusing on. Like, I mean, obviously we play a lot of Legacy. I study a lot of Legacy. Despite my recent 12 months of like brainstorm debauchery that have not reflected my necessary like immediate results. Yeah.
None.
Yeah, brainstorm's not for me, bro.
No.
But so you have to focus on like Dimir Reanimator, and then you also have to focus on the other top decks that are also good against Dimir Reanimator. And I say that in one sentence, but that's 2 different things. So you have to focus on like the mono red prison deck. You have to focus on the blue black tempo deck. You have to focus on the Delver Corey Steelcutter deck. Then you also have to focus on the other decks that are within the top 10, 12 decks that are good against those top like 3 decks, right? Because Legacy always kind of revolves around the top like 3 decks, whether that's like Mystic Forge, Reanimator, Mono Red, Blue Black Tempo, Delver, you know, like those are the top like 4 or 5 decks in the format right now. But then there's also the other decks like Nadu and stuff that like exist that are really good against like these other top decks. So you just have to be prepared on like this axis of I'm going to play against, you know, maybe these other 12 decks while you're playing, and you have to have a game plan for them. You have to be not necessarily favorite, but you have to have a plan against them, right?
Right. And we were talking about that a little bit earlier. And on my way here, we were talking about, oh, there's that new, you know, artifact deck where, you know, they're using the new Pinnacle, what is it, like Pinnacle Monastery or whatever it is.
Yep.
And then, so we talked a little bit about, you know, Affinity and that looks. And then we talked a little bit about Blue Painter and like, oh, that would be cool because like it's seeing this and that. So
stock up, yeah.
Yeah, and I would say like don't be polarized by numbers that you see as far as like MTG Top 8 or MTG Goldfish. That as long as you have a plan kind of going into it, you could surprise people, right? So I play Mono White Initiative. I want you to look at your sideboard map really quick and see what tools you have against Mono White Initiative.
Right.
Because going into it, you know what I have? I have plans for Reanimator. I have plans for Mono Red. I have plans for Nadu, right? So even though it's not like a top deck that you see, as long as it's something that you focus on and you do well and you have a plan for it, you're gonna do okay, right?
Yep.
Are those decks super broken? 100%. When you start seeing like the percentages that are going, but again, today was prime example. You know, I've played Tony probably 10 times in the last 2 weeks on me playing Reanimator, and just so we can get some reps. And he was on the Nadu, or the Gaia's Cradle control build. And, you know, he just kept just like owning it. So if that's the case, if you were just staring at the data, you would see a rise in those Gaia's Cradle kind of control type of decks. And then even today, you know, he matched up against somebody who is a very good Magic player who was on the Pro Tour, and he was on Dimir Reanimator. He's like, it's the best thing right now, so I might as well play it. It's broken. And Tony, you still were able to win out, right? So again, that's, if you look at where Cradle Control is on, you know, the listing of all the decks and stuff, you're not going to find it, right? But it doesn't mean that it's not good. So over the next 8 weeks, I encourage you to try different decks, whether that's in person at your LGS, whether that is on MTGO, you know, if you have the rental and you can rent cards and try different things, and find something that's fun, right? Because I don't want to show up to an event where it's like, hey, this is what's doing really well, so that's what I'm going to play. Because if it's not fun for me, like, I'm not smart enough to cast the card Brainstorm, right? So I'm just being honest. There's so many different things. Like, I know that I'm not going to be that player. So me, like, studying, you know, blue-black Reanimator or blue-black Tempo and trying to play it because it's the winningest deck, that's not fun for me, right? And I play this game because I want it to be fun for me. I want it to be something that I can constantly go back to and escape the real world, right? This isn't a job for me. And for some of you it may be, but for me it's not a job. And I want to go play stuff that's fun. So for me, playing things like Anointed Peacekeeper and Clarion Conquerors and getting the initiative, and like, it's a challenge that I want to do. And that's what I'm gonna play. Like, I'm gonna play those cards even though it's not like a top tier deck in the format. So I encourage you, you know, unless you're like, you've been playing Delver forever, you love Delver, whether, you know, highs and lows or Storm, you know, Ben, who's normally on the podcast, like, he's a Storm player through and through. Like, he's not, you know...
Ben's normally on the internet.
Yeah, he's not like...
Let's categorize that differently.
He's not like suiting up with like our, you know, any type of, you know, creatures or anything, because that's what he loves, right? So find what it is that you love, or maybe you want to try something new because you feel like the format's stale. I encourage you over the next 6 to 8 weeks to, you know, try one of those decks that are maybe a little bit further down in the percentages and find something that you love doing. Okay, because if, again, this is an escape, this is a hobby for us, and if you're having fun while you're doing it, it just makes it that much enjoyable. So that would be my tip, kind of going into Eternal Weekend. So
breaking down, so like looking at this like on a numerical level, right? Like breaking down what we're gonna do for our preparations for Eternal Weekend or other large Magic events coming up. Like TJ said, Eternal Weekend's our Super Bowl. So what I'm going to do is, I've already selected the deck that I'm going to play. I'm going to play Cradle Control, essentially. Some Gaia's Cradle, you know, dot deck, something. And I'm going to have I'm going to have a plan. One of the things I kind of picked up recently is I'm going to have a plan against these decks. And by what I mean is I'm going to have a sideboard plan against these decks. And I'm going to have it written down. Yes. And I'm going to have it in my deck box so that when I queue into Blue-Black Reanimator, I do not even have to think about what I'm boarding in and taking out against them. It's literally on that 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. I'm going to pull it out of my deck box. I'm going to say, these 4 in, these 4 out, done, end of story. That just takes that extra little bit of, like, pressure off of you in the moment, right? So, you know, people, like, generically say, oh, well, like, sideboard plans, you know, you don't know what you're doing. Like, no. Like, I'm going to have a sideboard map sitting in my deck box that when I queue into something, like, we're ready to go, in and out, done. Like, even if I know what it is 100%, like, that way I just don't have to think about it, so that when I get to round 8, it's just that much less stress that I have to worry about.
And I think that is huge, right? So when you're playing, a lot of people don't realize, they're like, oh, I'm going to play 7 games of Magic. Well, that could be up to 21 games of Magic, right? So right. That's a lot. It's a very long day. And if you can take your sideboard map and have it literally down to a science, whether that's on a little card or on your phone or just written, you know, printed out, like Tony said, that's just going to be so much less stress. So you grab those cards, put them in, out, don't think about it. Like, you have the time, you have the luxury to think about what that matchup looks like, and you can start getting prepared for Eternal Weekend or right. that next big competition that you have. Again, that's a lot less stress on the day of, which will make it just more enjoyable, right? You just pop those in, out, right, move on.
And so, like not jumping around, but, like, also, like, elaborating on what TJ said, I think right now there are 2 components to Legacy. Cards in your hand are really good. Cards in your graveyard are also really good. So, Reliquary, Elvish Reclaimer and White of the Reliquary, which give me Bajuka Bog. But all of those, like, cards in hand, cards in graveyard are very valuable. So I think that whenever you're constructing whatever you're building or when you're picking a deck, you need to think both of those things through. Right. Like, does this deck deal with cards in hand well? Can this deck deal with cards in graveyard, either pre-board or post-board? So that's my advice. Like, when you're picking a deck or selecting what you're gonna do, like, can you deal with, you know, hey, my opponent's got 7 cards in hand and, like, you know, I'm playing mono white Death and Taxes or something. Like, is that good? Or my opponent's doing something busted with the graveyard. Like, can my deck deal with that? So I think that you need to have a game plan against both of those. And, like, even looking at the past, like, 7 days of data on Goldfish, like, Dimir Reanimator is 19%. Mono Red is 7%. Dimir Tempo is 6.8. Mystic Forge is 6. Oops is 5.4. Sneak and Show is 4.8. Delver's 3.9. Eldrazi's 3.6. Lands is 3.6. And then you kind of get to your 3 and sub 3s. But I think that, you know, in your 3% you have Doomsday and Breakfast. So obviously, like, Legacy is very combo centric right now. So, you know, as far as that's concerned, you know, combo to me is two aspects of it. It's either graveyard combo or non-graveyard combo. So cards in hand, the card Thoughtseize is very good.
Yes.
And then also, like, having some interaction for the graveyard is also very good.
And I'll tell you, I'll even go into that a little bit. One thing that I learned at Buffalo Chicken Dip, and Chris, I'll get to your question in a second. One thing that I learned at Buffalo Chicken Dip was just having ley lines in your sideboard is not enough, okay? And again, I play Initiative. I play either Mono White or Boros. I learned how much of a liability that could be. So make sure you're looking at the matchup from the other person's point of view. So that way, when you're selecting the different cards that you're bringing in or taking out, that you can see kind of what advantages or disadvantages they have. Because I'm pretty sure I saw the first Dimir initiative deck at BCDL because they were just basically playing my deck with, you know, ley lines out there. I kept an awesome hand, and I was like, cool, we're gonna do this. And he's like, Thoughtseize, get rid of it. Go to his, you know, back to his turn, reanimate. I have the initiative. Go get the, you know, 1 land hand that I kept. Now you know, I'm putting, you know, some counters on a creature, and you're losing 5. Like, again, they took my creature and did it. So just another tip that I would say, if we're like dropping hints, is to make sure that you kind of see the matchup from the other person's perspective, which is why it's important for you, you know, even if you hit file print on the you know, on proxies and stuff like that, you know, get some play testing in. Like, I've been playing a lot of Reanimator. Not that I like Reanimator or want to play Reanimator, it's just so I can get used to kind of the lines and stuff, so I can figure out when I'm playing against it, kind of how to play it a little bit better. So Chris M had a question. It was, what's up, you guys? 2 questions. Should I go with the safe pick of UB Tempo, or with the fun choice, which I don't think he says the fun choice, with a deck that I know better and play ninjas? Oh, well, ninjas for sure.
Dude, ninjas, 100%.
Yeah, that's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Moving on, how can I get a Ohio Eternal shirt? Just shoot us a DM, and we will get you taken care of. We're actually getting ready to order a new batch of swag. I think we still owe Blaze a hat.
We owe Blaze a hat, dude. Blaze,
we
got you a hat, dude. Don't worry.
I just have to find it. We did moving at the school, and I just have to unpack it. But
Blaze,
just shoot us a message,
yeah,
and we will get you hooked up. And if you see us in an event, just like come up and talk to us. We'll hook you up with tokens and any swag that we have.
And if anybody wants any swag, DM us, and we will get you taken care of. No problem.
Easy peasy.
But yeah, like Chris, dude, I would play ninjas because of 2 reasons. So this is part of the reason why I chose Cradle, because a lot of people are going to go, what the shit? Like, they don't know 100% what's in your deck, or like how it plays, right? I remember the first time I played a lot of Legacy, and I remember the first time that I played against ninjas like sub 2 years ago, and I was like just baffled at like what the play patterns were, and like it's not even like, oh, I don't know that Yuriko exists. Like, I know Yuriko exists and I know what it does, but it was like, I didn't know 100% what was in his deck. I didn't know how to sideboard against his deck. And some of the lines in his deck was like, it caught me off guard. So like, for one, I think you get a little bit of bonus points from that. And 2, like, it's what you know. So like, play what you know, right? Like, everybody always tells you, play what you know, play what you're familiar with, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, I would just play that. And I mean, speaking of, like, I have ninjas built, like, and ninjas is super sweet. So, and
especially with Grafton's Little Spice. What was that? Your favorite card in that deck? In that list?
Thopter Foundry, dude.
No, the one that you actually hate.
Oh, the Flood Pits Drowner, dude. That card sucks, man. Dude, don't get me started. I love Grafton. Grafton's one of my best friends, dude. And he's got this like affinity for Flood Pits Drowner. So if you don't know what it says, it's like, it's a 2-drop flash, and it's like a 2/1, I think.
Yeah, put a stun counter on something.
So you get to stun something, and then you can like pay 2 mana and tap him and like shuffle in a creature that's like tapped or something.
Yeah.
But I'm like, no, like, you just need to play Tamiyo's. Like, Tamiyo's busted. And he's like, no, this Flood Pits Drowner. So like, there's this whole saga of Grafton with these Flood Pits Drowners that like, he like actually does really good with them, and it drives me nuts.
It's super sucky to play against, so that could be some secret tech for you to kind of look
like,
into. Because
like, don't sleep on the card. It's good.
Low key, it's actually a pain to actually play against, and I'm a creatures matter kind of guy, and it was a pain to kind of play against. But yeah, so play with what you love, what you know. I think that having that, you know, I think that you're gonna go, you know, a whole lot further. But yeah, ninjas, again, I think that there's an opportunity in our meta right now to have some of these sleeper builds that people aren't anticipating. When I was playing BCDL, there were so many times that people were like, can I read that card? What does Anointed Peacekeeper do?
Yeah. You don't play vintage much, do you? If
Well,
you don't know what that card does.
Well, it resolved, so I'm going to look at your hand, and then I'm going to name the 3 fetch lands that you have. Good luck, have fun.
Right.
Well, that's not, even the one that's already there. You can't, it's too late.
I just triple strip mined you. Good job.
Yeah. So, again, because nobody is used to playing against Initiative because it's not up on the top, the top list, if you will. Do I think that it's going to win Eternal Weekend? No. But I think I'm going to have fun,
It could.
It could. I think I'm going to have fun getting some wins and educating people on what a cool deck that is that I love. So,
yeah.
Again, I think that, just playing Ninjas is the right call.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Ninjas is, like, one of those decks that it feels, like, kind of bad. Blaze said you will win Eternal Weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like, Ninjas is one of those decks that, like, it feels awkward if you're behind on board, but, like, any time that you're able to, like, tap your creatures to attack, you just feel so far ahead that the game is, like, almost easy to play. So I would say whatever build of Ninjas you're playing, play a more proactive version. So, like, my list of Ninjas right now is, like, pretty hot and heavy. Like, dude, I'm playing 2 Retrofitter Foundries and 3 Infiltrators, 3 Tiamios, 3 Bowmasters, and 3 Kaidos. Like,
did you say Strix?
Yeah, and I'm 2 Baleful Strix. But, like, the most important thing is, like, I'm playing 2 Retrofitters and 3 of, like, pretty much everything else, except Eurekos. I've only got 2 Eurekos. But, like, the minute that you, like, land a Kaido or something, like, and you get to untap, like, the game's almost over, right? So I feel like you're just maximizing your threats. And, like, Cradle Control's the same way. Like, Cradle Control's just, like, bomb, 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 bomb. Like, you just overload your opponent, and that's how I felt. Today, like, I played against Ryan, and, Ryan's a phenomenal Magic player. He top 4'd the Vintage event yesterday for the Winter Lotus, and, like, split the Black Lotus. And I played against him today at the bar, and he was playing his deck, Blue-Black Reanimator, and, like, dude, like, they were close games, but, like, I still, like, pulled it out with Cradle Control, right? Because, again, like, the deck's just, like, threat, go, threat, go, threat, go, and
unless you have some type of wrath,
like
it's tough to deal with.
Yeah, it's, like, super tough to deal with, because I'm like, turn 1 Mana Dork, go, and he's like, sure, your Mana Dork resolves. And I'm like, cool, like, untap. Green Sun Zenith for Sylvan Safekeeper. Oh, sure, it resolves. Cool, Elvish Reclaimer, go. Like, that's my turn 2, right? And he's like, all right, I'm going to try to do the thing, like, Entomb Reanimate. And I'm like, cool, I have Endurance. And, like, if he doesn't have exactly Entomb Reanimate plus Force of Will or, like, Daze, like, he's in trouble.
Right.
Because if I get to untap with that Reclaimer or, like, a White of the Reliquary or something, like, the game is drastically different. So, just understanding your role in the matchup and, like, having something that your opponent necessarily isn't used to playing against. Like, I feel like if I'm the Dimir Reanimator player, I'm like, cool, I'm used to playing against Mono Red, I'm used to playing against Blue-Black Tempo, I'm used to playing against, like, Nadu something. Cool, I've got these matches lined up, and then, like, my opponent goes turn 1, land, Ignoble Hierarch, pass, and I'm like, shit. Like, they have Endurances in their deck. If they untap and they cast, like, a Right of the Reliquary and a Sylvan Safekeeper, like, now the game is not great for me. So I think you get some merit in playing something that's not, like, the best or, like, tier 1. So that's where I think, like, Ninjas or something else, like, really shines, is in the fact that, you're like, all right, yeah, you got your Entomb Reanimate, but, like, I'm just going to crash in on turn 2 with this Ornithopter and, like, Ninjutsu Eureka and deal 5 to you and, good luck. And then, like, post-board, you have, like, Grafdigger's Cages and, the sideboard for Ninjas is actually really sweet. Like, it's, like, 2 ofs everything.
Yeah.
And I kind of stole that from Grafton. But I'm playing Barrogoyfs in my sideboard because Barrogoyf is nuts.
That's nice.
And he said, like, he's like, I don't think you need Barrogoyfs, but I don't know, man. Tameo and Barrogoyf in a deck, like, I don't even need ninjas, dude. Like, I have Tameo and Barrogoyfs, and they're their own little sub-game that is really good, and
right.
Yeah, good luck to everybody else that's playing.
So as we start to close out, we're hitting up on the about 40-minute mark. What are 2 things that you would recommend to somebody that maybe this is their first Eternal weekend or their first big tournament? What are only 2 things that you would recommend to them? I'll go first.
Okay, go ahead.
So I'll go first. Number 1 is obviously practice. Get as many reps in as you can, and that is not just your deck. Okay, you need to play other experience, and even this summer played a lot of Pokemon just to get our minds kind of reset a little bit and thinking a little bit different. And I promise you that when I came back to Magic, I was a better Magic player because of it. It just forced my brain to work a little bit different and look for different things. And again, play as much as you can. Get reps in, not only on your deck, but other decks. And then the other one is the actual day of, okay? We already talked about like printing your sideboard and stuff like that, but on the day of, you need to take care of you, okay? You are not worth anything. There's no chance that you have to win round 4 if you are asleep, hungover, tired by round 3, right? It is a long day. I promise you, it is longer than you think it is. Bring hydration, bring Pedialyte packs, bring snacks and food because it's not available, especially if you go to turns. Take care of yourself on tournament day, or it's not going to matter what happens after, round 3, because you're going to be so exhausted, so drained that it's just a waste of money at that point. So take care of you. So beforehand, get reps in. Day of, take care of you, because you're the most important person there, right? And if you don't take care of you, nobody else is going to, okay? So make sure that you have snacks, water, hydration, you get a good night's rest, you have everything sleeved up before, and you're ready to just show up and do your thing. And if you do that, I promise you, you are gonna be set up for success more than half of the people that are there. If you're thinking about exactly that, and you are prepared, just mindset-wise, you're gonna do better than those around you. What are your 2?
Yeah, no, I mean, I definitely agree with what TJ said. You have to, like, nutritionally take care of yourself, right? But I would say, like, my 2, like, other things aside from that, because that's a huge one for me. I'm, like, all about, make sure that you're hydrated and everything. But I would say my 2 biggest things, like, dude, get the reps. If you don't have a Managed Traders account and you can't just jam leagues on Moto, like, dude, if you like scrub a league on Moto, it's $10 to rebuy a league, right? Like, take the time, invest into it, get 100 matches in before you even think about like showing up to Eternal Weekend. Like, hey, I'm playing this deck. All right, I'm gonna grind a league a week and just like, just get, because like it's what, October like 12th or something. Yep. From now, and it's like what, August 13th, 16th, something like that.
Yep, 16th.
Yeah, so it's like you functionally have like 8 weeks until Eternal Weekend. I mean, if you do 1 match a week until then, I mean, you have what, like rough math, like
about 50 matches.
Yeah, you have like 50 matches from now until then. So I would say just grind as much as you can, like physically. Try to get like that 100 matches in before, so you just understand your sequencing in your deck and everything. And then when you show up, like we talked about earlier, have your sideboard already like predetermined, like sitting in your box, and don't deviate from that.
No.
When you're sitting across from Reanimator, don't be like, well, I think this could be good in this instance. Like, no, like you have in your notes for a reason, like what your sideboard is against Reanimator. Take that thought process out of the equation. Say, I'm bringing in these 4 cards, I'm taking out these 4 cards, and I'm done. And play the match, right? Because that's going to take a huge mental load off of you that you're going to need in 4 rounds.
Right.
So, you know, when you're in that like pivotal turn and you've got to make that like crucial play, you know, just take the early matchup, I don't know, funk or whatever, out of the equation, and just say, all right, I'm boarding in these 5 cards and I'm boarding out these 5 cards, and we're done. I'm not even thinking about it. Let's shuffle up. Let's play another game of Magic. Because you're going to need every ounce of mental fortitude that you can afford at that time to play. So yeah, just take yourself and give yourself the best opportunity at winning by putting the time in beforehand and like setting yourself up for success and having that sideboard map and saying, all right, cool, against Mono Red Prison, I'm boarding in these 3 cards, I'm boarding out these 3 cards, and we're done. And I'm going to play the match. And if you lose the match, okay, like, you know, don't second guess yourself. Don't think, well, I could have done this, I should have done that.
You're there to play at least 7 rounds of Magic.
Yeah, just move on.
Right. And I kind of made that at Buffalo Chicken Dip. I kind of had that agreement with myself, was I don't want to be a O2 drop, drink in the parking lot, you know, have a beer, whatever. I'm going there to play as much Magic as I can, win or lose, so that way, you know, I'm mindset wise leading up to it. I want to make sure that I am prepared for that, and I did. You know, we played 7 rounds. I, you know, came out with a positive record, and it was because I set myself up for success kind of leading into it. So hopefully some of those tips will help you guys. We will be, you know, we've talking a lot about, you know, kind of getting back together. I know we haven't posted an episode in a minute, but thank you everybody for joining us. I think we had up to like 18 people join us at one point there. So thank you all for hanging out with us as we drive back to the OHIO from Pittsburgh against Steel City. It was a phenomenal event, and I can't wait to go. Again, I want to say there's another one over Thanksgiving break or something, or like Thanksgiving weekend.
Is there?
That's what one of the vendors was telling me today. So stay tuned as we get more information about that. We will put it out on our Discord. If you don't know how to find our Discord, just head over to eternal.rocks or do a Google search for Ohio Eternal, and that will get you there. Again, thanks so much for driving along with us. Hope you have a great week. We'll see you.
Peace.